This situation is kind of crazy. It ain't really crazy. It kind of threw me for a loop, right? You know when the video first came out, and then nobody believes Safaree. It just looked crazy. Even I said something on Twitter like you got on all white but claim you got jumped. Yeah, okay, or something like that, right? And then somebody dropped the actual video. It wasn't 20 niggas he got jumped by. It was like two they got on him. They didn't really get on him that bad. They washed his guy though. Whoever that nigga Safaree was with, they washed that nigga on the side of the wall. Like literally washed him up, cleaned him up, and dried him out. That shit was crazy. You know what I mean? But it was how Safaree was acting when he was in the video in the car. It's like, bro, you really got jumped? Anybody ever got jumped before? You know your clothes is basically fucked. You gonna have scuffs all on your shoes and shit. You know what I'm saying? Man, have blood or swollen parts on your face, you know what I mean, depending on how bad you got jumped or whatever the case may be, but it'll show you got in a fight. So I'm like, whatever, this nigga didn't get in no fight. And you see the video, you know what I mean, you see Meek just pull up. Now it's the BT weekend or whatever, they was at a party with Khaled or some shit like that. Now when he pulled up, I don't know if he was saying what up to the paparazzi or whoever was there, or if he seen Safaree, you know what I mean, and yeah, shit happens, you know what I mean? And you just see him say, what up? And then nigga just run after him, blah, 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 get on him and shit. Nigga hit the 5 yard dash quick than a motherfucker though. But it reminded me of 2 Chainz video. No offense, 2 Chainz, that's still my guy or whatever, but that nigga broke in them sweats. Like, y'all remember when that incident in Frisco? That nigga 2 Chainz got up out of there. But yeah, Safaree broke, you know what I mean? Left his man and shit like that, and then went on like a little rant. So we followed a little story, and it seemed like DJ Self, I guess supposedly, you know what I mean, had set up the nigga Safaree, and he did a video talking about, no, I didn't set Safaree up. I rock with both of them, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And it's like, it looks a little sketchy. You just come out the blue and say something when people accuse you and shit. It reminded me of the same shit with DJ Drama, Meek and Drake. You know what I mean? Niggas had to come out like, oh, I didn't leak direct, whatever. You know what I mean? But it is what it is on that part. So then they catch up with Meek, and you know what I mean? I had heard us in the headline of Meek say he a don, he don't do one-on-ones, and I was lost like, it's just a fight. Like, I don't understand what he mean by that. And so I watched the video earlier today, and I'm like, he kind of curved the TMZ nigga, and then he was just like, he wanted to say something else, but he didn't say it. Meek was like, yeah, you know what? Let's talk about, and then he never got into what he wanted to talk about though, but he was basically like, I'm a don, I don't fight. And his cousin, I forget that, O'Malley was like, what? That was when we was younger. We don't do one-on-ones, blah, 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 whatever. It's like, what kind of shit is that? Like, I was just lost in the whole shit. I don't know if it was him slipping down the stairs or him punching that bag like, you know, my 3-year-old niece. I don't know what it was that made him just feel like he can just say like, oh, I don't fight. I don't do one-on-ones. That's basically what you saying. Like, I don't understand that shit. As much tough talk that this nigga Meek do, you know what I mean, and nigga don't do one-on-one. So I looked at that shit like, man, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, who the fuck afraid of a fight? You know what I mean? Violence is not cool. He could have said some shit like that, or I ain't got nothing to do with it. Because it didn't make sense. He did the Instagram shit, the post, like he wasn't even there. That's what the whole shit confused me. Like, wait, what, is Safaree lying there? And then you see the video and it's like, oh, nigga, what are you talking about? How you just said you wasn't there on Instagram, you had nothing to do with it, don't let it confuse you, wins and losses. And it's like, bruh, you kind of like, somebody knew that the nigga Safaree was there and told me, because there's no way you just automatically pull up or some shit. Now, unless you was in the party, y'all was there, you know what I mean, y'all happen to just see each other or some shit, and you get the car and pull up around front where he was at, fine. But it just seemed too weird. The party look over, Safaree leaving, and a car just pull up. You know what I mean? So I don't really understand that whole shit. But somebody told somebody something. You dig? I don't know if somebody told Safaree Meek was coming and he dipped, or somebody told Meek that Safaree was here and he pulled up. Whoever, what have you. But still, that shit was crazy. And then you see niggas clowning Safaree online. Niggas in the comments on Instagram like, yeah, but Meek ain't running the game yet, and Game chimed in on it like, wait till I see that nigga or some shit like that. And it's just like, wow, all this shit because the BT weekend, you know what I mean, niggas, it's crazy. Then niggas is like, AK Act better be careful out there in LA, Akademiks and shit like that. That whole situation with Vic Mensa, my bad, but I call nigga Vince Staples. I don't know, man, that shit is just, I don't know. What Chicago rapper in Chicago, what artist in Chicago don't fuck with Akademiks? You know what I mean? Act should have never said what he said, making fun of Chirac. You know what I mean? And Vince shouldn't be so like a tough guy if you know you ain't really built like that or some shit like that. Because once you said you wanted to slap him, you didn't do it because of the cameras, nigga. It is what it is. I'm quite sure the footage would have aired somewhere online, even if Complex didn't air it in that shit. But you could have turned up on him if you was gonna see him. You know what I mean? If you felt that like that energy you had, and you didn't do it. So at the end of the day, I just look at that shit like, Vic is crazy for that shit. You know, I still like his music though, but I just feel like he kept saying it. It's like, you a bitch and blah, 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 but you ain't do nothing. Like, then he said, oh, if we was in a room, a couple of my guys, and you wouldn't say nothing, you wouldn't have that same energy. Of course he would, nigga. He ain't built like that. So why would he say some negative shit? You know, it kind of looked like Vic was a bully. I got where he was coming from, but at the same time, both these niggas is grown as fuck. Act shouldn't have said what he said. Vic shouldn't have went up there, you know what I mean, and said what he said. But I think Act opened the door when he spoke on the shit, because it looked like Vic just didn't want to be there. He looked very hostile. He knew he wanted to say something, but wasn't going to say something till it was brought up. Act brought it up, you know what I mean? And the thing about Akademiks is, like, between his live stream, that Twitch shit, the shit he be saying on there, he don't say the same shit when he be saying these motherfuckers. Sort of like when he was on The Brilliant Idiots, and Charlamagne said, like, yo, when you be saying shit like the Wale shit or, you know, the Scissor shit, when you see them, you kind of don't say it the same way. And I noticed that when I've listened to The Brilliant Idiots, when him and Charlamagne, they interviewed him, and the Wale shit, it was some shit that he said on the podcast he didn't really address with Wale. You know what I mean? Because I kind of feel like Wale, seeing how the history he had with Complex anyway, he probably would have wilded out on Akademiks, you know what I mean? But at the same time, Wale backtracked, Act backtracked, Vic Mensa shouldn't have said what he said, you know what I mean? And Akademiks just should have went on the show and not even brought the shit up. You know what I mean? Even if he felt how he felt, that shit was so old that, you know, happened with the whole Warren Chirac shit. I don't even know if Act still even do them videos, but that is notably what got him popping more than his actual channel and shit. But Act gotta know the shit you be saying, everybody ain't gonna find funny. You call it satire, but sometimes it's like, in a way, you are making fun of the people in a sense. But then you got, you know, your First Amendment to, you know what I mean, freedom of speech and shit like that. So I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that shit. I'm gonna get at y'all later. One.